Hello, hello, and welcome back to the Who Are You podcast. I'm your host, Connor Overbay. Welcome back to another week of the Who Are You. Make sure you guys give us a follow on all of our social media. It's going to be at Who Are You Pod from everything from Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, all the normal spots nowadays. And we finally got the YouTube page going as well. So make sure you guys give us a follow on the YouTube. It's going to be Who Are You podcast for everything. You guys will see clips, our video interviews, all that good stuff on there. So make sure you guys go ahead and give us a check out on that. But today, sitting down with two very busy men, two gentlemen that are doing all kinds of things to make me feel like I'm a lazy man. But today I'm sitting down with Mr. Shawn Abrams, and I'm also sitting down with Greg Rogers. I mean, you guys have so many, whether it's nonprofits, your businesses, and everything, it's kind of hard to really describe everything you guys do. But before we get started in the podcast, if you guys want to let everybody know where they can follow you, whether it's your social media, your websites, anything you guys got going on.
Yeah, guys. So again, my name is Shawn Abrams. I go by Shawn Wolf as an artist. You guys can follow me on Instagram at Shawn1Wolf. Our website is limitlesswolf.com, and the Instagram for the website is Limitless Wolf Co. on Instagram.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and my name is Greg Rogers. I focus on the nonprofit side, and I'm also the COO of Limitless Wolf Co. So my Instagram is Place Your Print on the World and at SKYLYFE Inc.
Well, gentlemen, like I said, welcome to the podcast. Was super excited. You know, I've been aware of you guys for a long time. I was letting him know before you got here. You know, I've been aware of you guys for a little bit, like whether it was through like the Safe House events or, you know, we all kind of rubbed shoulders and may just not have really known it. But, you know, whether it was the 904 pop-ups or even, I don't know, did you guys have a chance to go to the Collab Cafe or anything like that by chance?
So I actually was in Jax Bridges with the girl who runs Collab Cafe.
Really?
Yeah. So I've been there once or twice. It's a really cool spot.
Oh, yeah, man. And like from everything you guys just listed there, you guys are very, very busy. And like I said, thank you so much for taking the time to come sit down with me today. I've seen you guys on the news. You know, like usually I do a lot of prep work before I sit down with someone just to make sure it's a good interview and make sure I can ask, you know, a little bit more pointed questions. And I mean, you guys gave me a lot to look at, to be honest with you, whether it was from the news or you guys were on River City Live, which I sat down with one of the hosts of not too long ago. But congrats on all the success, man.
Appreciate that, man. Thank you.
Super happy to see what you guys are doing. So as we get started in the podcast, going to kind of get a little bit of a background story of you guys. So to start off with you, Shawn, you're from Jacksonville, correct?
Yes, sir. From Jacksonville, born and raised. Grew up here, went to Fletcher High School.
Boo.
Listen, man. Go Senators all day long. We bleed in purple.
Yes, sir.
No, so I was a three-sport athlete in high school. I played football, basketball, ran track every year. I was an AB honor roll student. So I was a heavy student athlete, went to college, played football at Florida International.
Did you? Congrats, man. That's huge.
Thank you. So I played wide receiver.
I can see it.
I was very fast. The speed's probably the only reason why I even played football. I said I've been playing basketball. That's the past. But yeah, so I went to FIU, played football, studied business down there. When I was going to college, I wanted to be a CFO.
Mm-hmm.
But outside of that, I didn't really have anything written. So I went and studied business. Got to my senior year. I'm playing football. I'm like, all right. So I switched my major to sports management.
Okay.
And then I graduated in 4 years and started my entrepreneur journey, I would say. I started working for Enterprise, fresh out of college. After that, all of the skills that I gained from working at that job, like literally running my own branch and handling my own set of customers. These customers know me. I was in Miami Beach, so I'm pulling up to the W Hotel, all of the high class hotels, and doing transactions with the people, like dropping off cars to them.
Dang, man.
like doing contractual deals for cars, like fresh out of car. So learning how to do that. Once I stopped working for Enterprise, I was like, I gotta start my own company. There's no way. Like,
I can see it.
I gotta have my own enterprise because what in the way? If I could do that, showed me if I could do it, then like okay, you're just gonna have to build it. They started somewhere. So I started in 2019. I started Limitless, the Wolf LLC. That's my company. It started off just being a visual art company. I was painting shoes in college. I started painting shoes, cleats, portraits. Started doing commission pieces, murals. Started just evolving in my art game, but I was also always working a job. Like I worked at Carnival Cruise Line. I've always been working a job and then trying to build on my passion and my goals. And so, yeah, fast forward, I moved back home in 2020 during COVID. That was kind of when I really started taking my art more serious. I started meeting a couple of people. And then, honestly, it wasn't until last year. Last year, it felt like being a freshman to the game. Like, I came in, I didn't really know anybody in this artist network community in Jacksonville. But shout out to Chris Clark, man. Chris Clark invited me to one meeting in May last year that set off a whole domino effect of just meeting people and being connected and meeting people and being connected and meeting people. And then after that, opportunities and opportunities and opportunities, and then growth and then recognition. But it started with being invited to an artist meetup. So he had seen that I was putting in work for 4 years, even though I wasn't connected with everybody else. He saw that. And so from there, I met another artist named Maya. Maya Matheson. She runs Auntie's House.
Oh, okay. I know who that is.
Yeah,
Okay.
Maya. So Maya takes me around and introduces me to everybody. Everybody that I probably over 100 people. This is Shawn. He's an artist. Work with him, do something with him. And then I started being in art shows last year. So I had my first art show last year ever. And then second art show was Bless Your Soul. And it just so happens that I had a painting in Bless Your Soul, but this man had a whole VIP section just laid out with shoes.
Okay.
just at Bless Your Soul. So my family members went up and saw this experience and came back and they're like, Shawn, you gotta go meet this dude. You gotta talk. You gotta go work with this guy. Like they were literally like, I felt like their heads were about to pop off. They was raving so much. And then I think like the next day or something like that, Greg was set up downstairs and shoot, that's when me and Greg met, man. Last September.
And it's just been growing, man.
It's just been growing ever since then, man. This year, we came out with AR T-shirts.
Yes, sir.
And then transitioned from that to the shoes, and we're running programs to teach kids how to become entrepreneurs through technology. And then, yeah, just shoes are blowing up. So we created the shoes in March. The shoes are called the Wolf Ones. And WOLF stands for Working on Limitless Freedom. I fast forward past a couple of things, but I published a book in 2022 called How to Buy Your Freedom. That book is it's like a life education book. I reflected on a lot of my experiences and what I learned from those experiences, and then I kind of filtered it in a way for a young kid to read it.
Nice.
And then I gave a bunch of good financial tips at the end, and then I gave a list of the books that I read to get to this book. In that book, there's a story about a bread maker slave and how the slave bought his freedom.
Okay.
So essentially what we need to learn and what we need to teach people and people that are younger than us is how to get a formula and then how to sell it and then how to sell it for themselves, and then they can earn. If they can learn the formula and sell or serve or whatever and earn for self, then we're empowering them. But if we make them dependent, then we're not always helping them. And that can be working for your own job. That can be working for somebody else. Either way, you got to learn to earn.
I totally agree, man. When it comes to working for yourself, escaping, a lot of people go to the 9 to 5 and they think that's all they have to do. And, you know, in my opinion, I've worked multiple 9-to-5 jobs. And it got to the point where I was like, I'm not fulfilled by this. You know, I'm working for someone else who's making all the profit off of me. And I feel like when you go to school, like I went to college and they were teaching me how to be a good worker. They weren't really teaching me to think for myself. And entrepreneurship, I'm sure between you two, you know, it's not what they show you in a book. It's through the experience, going out there and, like you said, marketing yourself, right, showing you like how to pay taxes on your business. You know, a lot of people get in trouble when they, you know, they make all this money, they don't set anything aside to pay off those taxes that come at the end of the year. And I feel like a lot of kids are kind of not brainwashed, but shown only one way of thinking, when I'm sure both you guys know there's many ways, many avenues that you can go down to. And that's awesome that you wrote a book, man. I think I'm pretty illiterate, but when it comes to actually sitting down and writing something, I don't know what goes on with my fingers. It completely changes whenever it goes to that. But what about you, Greg? I'm going to say, what's your background, my man?
Yeah. I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself. So I was born in Brooklyn, New York City.
Okay.
Transitioned and grew up in Savannah, Georgia.
Okay.
Went to Soul C. Johnson High School. Shout out to the Adam Smashers. Ended up going to junior college for a minute, and then I dropped out because I had my first daughter.
Okay.
Started working, and then I realized that I had to do something. I had to be a role model to my daughter. I had to be a man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So essentially, I went to the Navy. I went to the United States Navy when I was 21. I was stationed out in San Diego. I spent about 8 years in the military before I transitioned, got my bachelor's degree in workforce education and development, and then I got a master's at Pepperdine for social entrepreneurship and change.
Nice.
So this experience gave me the opportunity to really travel the world. So I went to places like Uganda, Morocco, Jerusalem. I mean, all over, really just freely traveled the world at my pleasure, you know what I'm saying, while I was in college. And then I had the ability to live in Spain for 3 years, right? Wow. Right after my first master's degree. Then I got a second master's degree, an MBA, while I was going to school in Germany at University of Maryland Global College. So
nice.
Education was a foundational piece to where I am today. Mm-hmm. So, you know, in that process, I had the ability just to expand my horizons and see all the great things that the world had to offer. Right. And then bring those things back to the United States, because a lot of us are not hip to what goes on in the global world.
Of course.
Right?
Yeah.
So when I came back to the States, I started working at City Year Jacksonville, and their goal was to decrease the dropout rates out here in Duval County. So I was working with schools on the north side, giving kids, because I created shoes when I got back to Jacksonville. Mm-hmm. So I started giving out shoes to kids that made the honor roll or had perfect attendance.
That's
or,
cool.
You know, little things like that, just to, you know, build the morale inside of the school system, because I'm not sure. I mean, maybe y'all do know, you know, down in Moncrief and some of these areas, the school systems aren't, you know, as fulfilling for kids. So after that experience, man, my goal was to say, hey, let me build skills that will essentially, you know, give kids in the inner city the ability to use their imagination and creative freedom. So I started learning how to build virtual reality and augmented reality experiences. After that, I started learning coding and learning different, you know, frameworks in coding. So everything that I learned and built myself up to do, I end up teaching and creating programs through my nonprofit. Right.
That's awesome.
And then one of the programs is called Enhancing Entrepreneurship Through Technology, right? So the age group in this program is 10 through 30, right? So Shawn was 29 last year, so he was able to join the program and benefit from all the opportunities it has, you know what I mean? Teaching them about, you know, just different digital frameworks and digital technologies as far as blockchain, AI, augmented reality. I mean, I'm pouring stuff into him, and he leaving my house like, bro, my brain is hurting. My brain is hurting, right? So, you know, just after time, just, you know, just building with him. He told me about the Limitless Wolf LLC. I already had kind of like this idea about this limitless approach, and I broke it down to him. He said, bro, let's do it. Let's do it. So we conceptualized the idea of embedding technology into, you know, some of the footwear that he was considering creating, right? And he wanted to make it sustainable. Like he wanted like if you wear this shoe, you can wear this shoe every day if you wanted to. So, with that conceptualization, we came together, we sat down, went through all my manufacturers' catalogs and different, silhouettes that they had and different ideas, just coming up with some brainstorming. And he was like, that's it. Those are the Wolf
That's
ones.
the ones. Yes, sir.
That's it. And then, we came together, we did it, and we got the samples in. We were so excited about them. We felt them. The shoes are amazing, but the most prominent thing I would say from creating this is the process that we able to teach the kids.
Exactly.
The younger generation. And as, Shawn came along, he's an instructor, he's an educator. So he's kind of similar to me. So we just joined forces and was able to do just amazing things throughout the year after we launched the Wolf Ones.
Congratulations, guys. That's the main thing with everything you guys are doing. Like I said, I've been aware of it. I pay attention before I invite someone on the podcast. I pay attention to you guys for a little while and just seeing everything you guys are doing, whether it was like working with kids. That's something I have a soft spot for because I feel like kids are the last period thing on earth, man. They're not born with any kind of, they're not mad at any specific kind of person, whether it's color, religion, whatever it is.
Absolutely.
They just want someone out there that's going to pour, whether it's information, love, support into them.
Absolutely.
And I think that's amazing with what you guys do. And, you were talking about like the inner city, whether it was Merrill Road, all that stuff. I was telling him, like, I did pest control for 4 years.
Okay.
So I went into those homes and saw that kind of situation. And whenever I was growing up, I played basketball growing up, and it was off Merrill Road. We had a spot with my basketball trainer where we were lucky enough to use the church's gym. And we'd have kids come in, we'd help them out with homework on the week, during the week, give them a place to stay for 8 hours where they weren't just roaming the street, getting into no good, and giving them an opportunity to learn the game of basketball. And that's something I've always been big on, man, is just giving the kid a chance. Because and another thing it gave me as well, it shows me different perspectives. I grew up very lucky, man. My parents divorced and all that stuff. Both were still very involved. Both told me like, hey, you're gonna go do something, whether it's schooling, you're gonna get your education in some way, shape, or form. You're gonna work your ass off, and we're not gonna give you everything. I moved out like the day I turned 18. My wife, we weren't even dating yet. She helped me move out of my mom's house, and we moved into an apartment with roommates, and we made our way to get to the point where we didn't have to have roommates, and now we had real jobs and doing everything.
Yeah.
But working with children is a huge thing because when you're that young, you don't know what's possible.
Right.
And I think that's the biggest thing is showing a child like what is actually possible. Just because you see your cousin, your brother, or something like that maybe is not doing the right thing doesn't mean that's the same route you have to go down, and showing them that you can break out of that and do your own thing and grow and be positive with what you guys are going on.
1,000%. And it builds them a value system.
Exactly.
Right? A lot of us didn't have the ability to build that value system. And one thing that me and Shawn do, as leaders of the community is build that value system for the kids, right? I was in the school and they were teaching kids about crime, crook, words like that, instead of like trustworthiness, respect, and teaching them that value system. So that's something that, me and Shawn talk about a lot, and how we can build, that system of value for kids.
It's important, man, showing kids what's important. And, especially in today's world, I'm sure you guys know social media. You guys see whether it's through like specific kinds of music or, people out there doing things, they see it on TV and they're like, oh, that's what I want to do. But they don't know what the ramifications are of doing what they're doing on TV. And even myself, I grew up thinking the same thing, man. Like I went to Sandalwood High School. I'm sure I was a little bit more of the token white boy walking around that school. But like there's kids today that I knew then that aren't here anymore from doing that street life.
Yep.
And then there's other guys I know who like broke out of that cycle and now they're making money. They're either they started their own business or they're working for a big business now, and they're able to help their family out, get out of that continuous circle. And I think that's a beautiful thing you guys are doing. Yeah. So tell me a little bit more about the actual, conceptualizing of the shoe. So you said you saw like, what was it? The shadows or silhouettes is what you were saying.
Yep.
So with everything you guys got going on in the shoe, like obviously it's not just, it looks like it's maybe laser cut. If I'm wrong, obviously let me know. You guys know.
Injection molded.
Okay. Injection mold. That's what I was going to ask about. So when did you, like, what was that idea? You're like, how did you come up with the idea and saying that is the one? What made you think like these are the shoes, these are in my head, and these are exactly what I want to put out there?
Yeah, I got you. So the idealization behind the Wolf Ones was we wanted to create a generational shoe that's also sustainable. In order to do that, we got to look at the previous generational shoes, right? I will raise my hand and say that Crocs is a generational shoe, right? We can all agree.
I remember when they first came out. I was a literal child.
So,
I was a child when those came out. Yeah.
So Air Force Ones is a generational shoe, right?
Yep.
And we can all So the Wolf Ones were designed to be like a hybrid between Air Force Ones and Crocs. Okay. So looking through thousands of silhouettes of shoes is like, nah, hell no. All right, we're going in the wrong direction. Like, we need to get back towards this. And then once we landed on these, we're like, oh snap!
Mm-hmm.
That's it. We was like, that's it. We started jumping up and down. We was like, oh man, we about to do it. And then the whole thing was we needed the sock to come out.
Yeah.
So these will be perfect if the sock comes out. Was what that was our final, like, if the sock can come out, we can do anything with this shoe. It's limitless. Like, it will be limitless. And honestly, when we got it back,
we end up talking to the manufacturers, telling them what we wanted. Like, hey, we want the sock to come out the shoe. We want, certain logos on the shoe. We want a certain material. We want the material to be sustainable material. So it's an all natural shell and a flyweed sock.
That's really cool.
Simple fabrics you use to create sustainable footwear, right? And then when you switch the stock out, you get a different look of the shoe. It look like you got a whole different shoe on. So, those are the things that we talked about that we wanted on our list of, okay, if we create a shoe, these are the things that we want. Now, here are some manufacturers. Let's see if they have those type of shoes available.
Exactly.
You do a MOQ or RFQ, a request for quote. They give you back. They give you a certain quantity that you have to, buy to mass, produce.
Of course,
shoes.
yeah.
So me and him put our bread together and we collaborated on getting them. Right?
Nice.
So now we're thinking about future approaches. You know what I mean? We want to create them out of recycled tires.
That'd be cool.
I like what I'm saying? Yeah. And really come up with some dope, innovative ways for people to interact with their Wolf Ones. So using technology.
No, I think it's cool, man. Especially like we were talking before the podcast started, the idea, like I didn't know originally when I reached out to you guys, and after I watched a little bit more of the news segments and everything, the sock idea I think is very interesting because, as you said, it changes the whole look of the shoe. Whether if like the outside shell is white, you have red, pink, yellow, all that kind of mix of things, so you can change with what you're wearing. And obviously I saw you guys got like camouflage ones on right now, and then I saw like was it during Florida Georgia weekend or something like that, you guys had the different sports teams on there and everything. I was like, okay. I was like, I see it. It's cool to have and be able to customize it like that, because in today's world, there's so many people who are trying to get your attention. And with what you guys have on, I've never seen anything anywhere close to it. Correct. So that's the thing I find really cool about it is, you guys are putting something out there that's not out there right now.
The feedback we've been getting has been crazy. I didn't heard these things look like Crocs on steroids or, we get so much great feedback from the people. And then the beautiful thing is the comfortability. Like we wanted to make sure that these things were like super comfortable. Like it's kind of actually like you putting on a sock, you know what I mean? And we want them to be light. So all those things check the box. We did our initial, reviews just from feedback from the people in Atlanta, New York, from all over, just to see if these are it. And oh my goodness,
I love it,
the
man.
Feedback has been astonishing.
Isn't that cool though?
Yeah,
like, like putting something in your mind. That's my favorite thing about every time I sit down with an entrepreneur who creates, whether it's art, basically what you guys did create is art. And then, having something in your mind and actually having a physical thing, I find so cool, man, because no one else had that same idea as you. And you literally created something that no one else has made.
Right.
So I think that's amazing, guys. And when it came to, opening up your own brick and mortar store, how did that come into mind? Because a lot of people would think, that's a lot of overhead. Yeah. I mean, just stay online, do it that way. What made you guys want to open the brick and mortar store?
Well, it's a co-op space between us and One Bridge Connect. So I met Autumn Redding, who's the owner of One Bridge, way back when she was at, what is it called? What's the mall called?
Avenue?
Regency.
Oh,
yeah, she was
back in the day in Regency.
Right. She was at Regency.
Throwback.
I wanted to work with her then, but I was moving around LA, all type of places. But when she got the brick and mortar downtown, I went over there. I already was a member. SKYLYFE was already a member of One Bridge, so. She has an business accelerator program that me and Shawn is a part of, and associated with being a part of that accelerator program we can put the clothing and the footwear in the store.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
So you were talking about minimums. If you don't mind me asking about numbers, obviously, how many did you guys have to order up front for them to actually want to work with you on that side of things?
So we ordered 40.
Okay.
40, right? Yeah, like 40 of them.
That's
first
a good
batch, yeah.
That's a good amount.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
first batch was 40, and then the mulch we bought up to this point is 80, 80 batch with some socks as well, because you can take out the socks, sell the socks separately. So yeah, man, it's our manufacturer. I've been building relationships with manufacturers for a long time. So me and the manufacturer is pretty cool. So I can reach out to him, say, hey, you know what I mean, we want 50 and customize them, and so it's efficient.
Yeah, that's an interesting world. My dad worked in the promo business for a very long time. Whenever I was young, he worked in technology, like with Microsoft and a couple other companies. And then whenever I was young and born, this is back in like early 2000, like 2001. He did this for 10 years and was just making shirts for companies like Bacardi, all this different kinds of stuff, pins, shirts, hats, whatever you really needed. And this was back in the day before really the internet was blowing up. And they would send him checks. He would sit there and talk about, like, he kind of had an idea and it just started. He was like, I would skip to the mailbox because he's like, there was a $10,000 check waiting for him there.
Yeah.
And it's just crazy to think about how promotional stuff works, and then making those relationships, which I'm a big talker about. I feel like relationships get you way farther than anything. You can have all this 10,000 followers, 10 million followers.
Don't mean nothing.
If you don't have those relationships with people, because sooner or later you're going to need help. I'm thoroughly one of those people where I didn't make it here by myself. Whether it's through my wife, through my family, through my friends, everybody's helped me in a certain way, shape, or form. And I'm sure, being in business, it's the same way. But so when it came to, you said the manufacturing and everything, what was the main point when you guys knew that this was something that could actually blow up to where you guys are now? Because obviously a lot of people have an idea and then they get stuck on that what if. What made you guys want to push forward and, actually make it the thing and keep on growing?
That's a good question, man. I would say it was some of the events that we just attended. I think InvestFest did it for us.
Okay. I think InvestFest definitely
I think it did it for us because, I mean, go ahead, bro.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah. I have to completely agree. I think InvestFest was, what do you call it, the Super Bowl for hustlers?
Oh, absolutely.
Super Bowl for hustlers. I like that.
For hustlers and entrepreneurs.
Yep.
Any business owner, you should have been there because there was 30,000 people in that convention center.
Where was this at?
Atlanta.
Oh, okay. So that was big forum over there. Okay.
Yeah.
Big. And I'm
huge,
talking about, and this isn't this is high quality, like, foot traffic. Not, I mean, the entry tickets are like $250 for
okay. So you want to be there.
You had to invest in yourself to be there in the first place. Right. So these people are walking in and stopping and being flabbergasted by the Wolf Ones. Then we breaking these people over like, what are those? They're like, what, bro? What are these? And then they picking them out. They're like, they're so light.
Yeah.
So, yes, you're gonna get love at home.
Of course.
Always, you always gonna get love. They gotta support you at first, and when you fall on your face, then they talk crap, right? But it's when you continue to do like new things that keeps people going. And so taking it to Atlanta and getting all that feedback, we had people coming up to interview us. We had people doing live reviews, people getting 2 pairs, some people sat at our vending booth for an hour and a half.
Just talking to us, just chopping it up.
Yeah.
Right? Like, how did y'all do this?
Yeah.
I ain't never seen this before. And yeah, I think that was, that was kind of the moment where we're looking at each other like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
You had
take
something
it to the next level. Yeah.
And now, man, like I said, like, it caught my eye. Like, I was telling him, I'm a big shoe guy. I grew up, like I said, playing basketball and everything. I'm wearing Jordan 1s right now, and Shannon hates it, but I got more shoes than she probably does in the bedroom right now. But that's the thing, is just seeing something different, because that's the thing, especially in Jacksonville. Not hating on people who love the Jaguars. I'm wearing a Jaguar shirt. Love Jacksonville. But, a lot of shirt brands are all doing Jag-inspired stuff. I'm like, guys, there's 20 of them. I understand.
Oversaturated.
And like with what you guys did, you guys have a different product, and I saw you guys did like collaborate. No, I don't know if you guys collaborated with the Jaguars or you made Jaguar colored shoes. I saw on your website.
We just made a Jaguar edition.
And that's cool.
It's just a Jax edition. Honestly.
Yeah, and I love it. And that's the thing but it's on a different product. I can't tell you the amount of Jaguars, different brand shirts, and like all the hats and all that stuff. It's just after a while it gets played out, and seeing something different. I'm sure people have listened to the podcast and rolled their eyes at me 1,000 times after saying this, but it's just different product. Put something out there that's different, and that's my favorite thing about you guys. And plus, you guys both have different experiences. Obviously, with you traveling the world, you going to school, man, and running businesses. That's huge. That's a lot of experience that people don't have. Some people think, oh, I'm gonna be a CEO flipping burgers sooner or later. I'm like, it takes more than that, man. It's a lot. I was telling him before when we started this podcast, we literally had a glass table right here with 2 microphones, that road board, and my phone. That's all we did, and we've just been building it up ever since. And it's through collaboration with people here in Jacksonville, and it doesn't matter if you have 10 followers, 10 million followers. I'm going to treat you the same no matter what.
Absolutely.
And that's why, like, whenever he responds to me, I was like, all right, bet we're going to get on here, have a good conversation, man. Because sitting down with entrepreneurs, I don't know why, it's just like I can see the fire in y'all's eyes. Like, you guys know, like, I'm going to keep pushing, keep doing my thing, and grow to where you guys are today. So congrats, man. Like I said, I love to see it.
Appreciate that,
bro.
And I want to ask you some questions about. So you played college football, man.
Yes, sir.
I need to know a little bit about that. So, are you a fan of anybody right now? Obviously, you played for a certain school. Are you a fan of them, or are you like a Florida fan?
So I'm actually a Bulldog fan.
Oh God,
there we go. So there we go, Dogs.
Man, if Lagway didn't go down, man, we would have won that game, bro. I'm a Gator fan.
Man, we just lost to freaking Ole Miss. I ain't worried about Florida Gators.
Ole Miss. Hey, those 3 interceptions. I knew y'all were a little
Carson Beck looking bad.
A little worried the first half there.
Looking bad out here.
Carson Beck ain't produced good this game for
us. But that feeling, man, of so you got brought in. Did you get brought in on scholarship or did you walk on?
I was walk on.
Congrats, man. That's huge. That's hard, bro.
And like the journey from going from walk on to playing on the field in the game is no small task.
I
You're
respect
not
it.
on the meal plan. You're not getting the same. You don't get nothing the same.
And they didn't have NIL back then either, right?
Nope.
I would say that's a whole thing now.
Can't make no money off your name. Can't have you can't host camps. You can't. You couldn't do anything back then.
Yeah.
So literally, I was struggling just to play football.
Hey, bro, I respect it, man. I say I played basketball growing up, and like I did all the travel, AAU ball, and everything. And it got to a point where I saw the different level. I was like, I'm not that level. Like I looked at myself in the mirror, like I was like, I'm just tall, man. Like I got this thing called white man's disease. I can barely jump over a piece of paper. Wow. You know what I mean? Like I did well. Like I said,
Jokic.
Yeah, pretty much, man. It's tough out there, but like seeing that different level, dude. And in college, I can't even imagine what that was like. What's that pressure like of, you're on the line, you got to make a play, and, you don't know if that ball's coming your way or not, but you're just going to try to make yourself open.
Yeah, so, I mean, college is, I don't even know how to explain it. College is, college is the best of the best. Mm-hmm. Okay? Straight up.
I agree.
College is the best of the best, okay? The professionals, those are all the elites out of the best of the best.
0.001%.
Yeah. So playing on a college level and like moving at that speed, that game speed is crazy because it's not the high school game speed. And then obviously, you playing with grown men.
Oh, dude, I played football for a little while, man. I went from 240 down to 180, 170 my like sophomore junior year. I was like, I'm done with football. I was like, I'm not gonna get cracked on the field.
Yeah, football messed up my basketball career.
So man, man. So anybody
broke
over
my ankle.
Nope.
Anybody over 2 something?
Yeah,
playing football like them 230s, them 250s.
There's some big boys out there, man.
Yeah.
Them guys flying around, hitting you, landing on you. You getting up, you keep going. Yeah, let's just say it caught up with me.
I can understand, man. Like I said, those dudes. That's modern day like Gladiator.
I legit.
It's like a car hitting you.
Well, I got laid out one game playing UTSA. My quarterback threw the ball behind me. He threw it behind me.
It's done.
You know, that's called a hospital ball right there. Like, I don't know if you guys watched the NFL today. Did you see Chris Olave for the Saints, man? He got smashed in between two players. Right. I was like, nah, man.
Them hits
100%.
brutal,
They're trying to.
No, I'm good.
Waiting for two cars to come crashing.
No, man,
I'm good.
So I did have a question. So when you're playing sports, you're on the team and everything.
Yeah.
How do you balance schooling and that? Do they take it easier on you when you're an athlete in school?
So the one thing I will say, as far as like college and they give you more than enough help to get good grades and succeed.
Yeah.
Like, every single school that has an athletic program has as a student athlete academic center or a SAC.
Mm-hmm.
They have tutors for you, and you have hours that you're supposed to put in, whether you playing for Alabama or you playing for Florida International. It's not that different. So I feel like they give you plenty of help in order to succeed. It's just the fact that, you know, some people don't do their work.
That was the thing.
I witness people not doing their work.
Well, you don't see it too often anymore, but I remember, say, 5-6 years ago, before NIL really came out and everything, like, you would see like kids, their GPA got too low and they weren't able to play. It was very common in basketball, and I was like, how? I was like, how in the world is this like a possible thing, man? But to switch on to you, man, you said, you know, world traveler. And by the way, thank you for your service being in the military, by the way. We worked with nonprofits here in Jacksonville with like the veterans and military and everything. So very close. I got multiple family members who are veterans.
Dope.
So going into the military, man, I never signed the paperwork.
Yeah.
What made you decide to go into that, man? Because that's a scary situation,
Just
man.
be a role model to my daughter.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I just wanted to provide her with a better life.
How old were you whenever you had your daughter?
19.
Ooh, young man.
19.
Young.
When I had my first daughter, I was 19.
Were you scared?
I mean, of course. You're young. You don't know what to expect. You don't know what the outcomes are.
You're still a child almost yourself there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, I mean, I know I had to make a decision that was best for her at the time. So, you know, I went to the military, was able to have her travel out there, live with me for 3 years. You know what I mean?
Oh, for real? That's cool.
Yeah. You know, my daughters had the ability to see the world as well. You know,
that's awesome.
They visit Rome. You know, what is it called? Amsterdam.
Oh, wow.
Netherlands.
Yeah.
You know, so Italy. You know, they've been to Paris. So being able to, you know, just give my girls the world and, you know, give my daughters something I didn't have was important. So just being that role model.
Do you have two daughters?
Yep.
If you don't mind me asking, how old are they now?
So one is 20.
Oh, wow.
Because I was 19 when I had her. I'm 30. I'm about to be 39.
Okay.
Right. And the other is 12.
Oh,
She's
wow,
going
man.
to turn 12 this year.
That's kind of like me and my little brother. So, like I was telling you guys in the beginning, my parents divorced when I was young. My mom and dad divorced when I was 5. And then my mom remarried to my stepdad, shout out Todd. And I have a little brother named Seth. He's 15 and I'm 25. So, if we're kind of like in that same like range, like 10 years older.
Yep.
And it's so funny, man. Looking at him now, you know, he's talking to me about girls. He's getting in trouble sometimes. And I'm like, buddy, don't test the waters, bro. I'm like, I did it. I was like, I did all of it. I understand. I was like, you know, you think you're slick, but you're not.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's super cool, man. And that's one thing that we're excited about is me and her have been married for a year, but been together for 8 years, right? Something like that. She's going to throw something at me if I get that wrong. But that's something I've always been, like, ever since I was young. Like, when me and her first started dating, I was like, you know, this is my life plan. I was like, sooner or later, you know, I would like to have kids. I was like, just being straight up with you. And I was like, if that's not in your plan, cool. It's no issue at all. Just before we get too deep into this conversation, I want to make sure you're aware of what my intentions are and everything. And that's something that's crazy now. Is like, I'm feeling old. We're starting to get to that point now where we're actually talking about it and making it a reality. I'm just like, shit, man. It's gonna be interesting.
Time travel fast, man.
Dude, I talk about it all the time. Like 18 to now feels like snap of fingers. Ever since I really started working and having to make money to pay bills and stuff, it just flies on by. Exactly. You know, like our wedding day was a snap of a finger. Like I remember like putting on my suit and having a beer with my boys, and the night was over.
Wow.
And a year passed by like a snap of a finger. We were sitting here talking about it when we had our 1 year anniversary dinner, and we're sitting there like, damn, man, it's already been a year. It's already been a year. But through all your travels and everything, what was your favorite place that you had a chance to go travel to?
Ooh,
you've been to many. That's what it sounds like.
Yeah. I've been a lot of places. I love Morocco. Morocco is a dope place. Spain is beautiful as well. Southern Spain. I don't really do northern Spain, but southern Spain is nice.
What's wrong with northern Spain?
I don't know.
Okay.
I just heard that southern Spain is the best part of Spain.
Heard
so
that.
I'm just going to stick with that.
I'll believe you. Hell yeah, man. I totally understand.
Africa was always good. Places like Jerusalem,
That'd be
holy
cool.
places. That's cool. I really don't have like a favorite place. You know what I mean?
They all have their own things. Yeah.
All of them is unique in their own ways. Just the ability to be present, go around, see history, and get to experience like the vibe in certain areas, man. Life changing.
Were they all okay? Like most places were cool with Americans?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, they love us over there.
Spend some money over there.
Exactly. They love us. Shoot. I had no problems, in my travels. But yeah, it was a great experience.
And what was your job in the military?
So in the military, I was a Bosa mate. I got out after 8 years, and then I started getting into banking.
Okay.
I was in the banking, and then, like I said, I worked at City of Jacksonville, and then I became an entrepreneur while I was in the military.
Nice.
So we used to go out and feed the homeless on 16th and Island in San Diego, and it was like blocks full of homeless people. So me and people that I start the organization with, we would go out, go to the grocery store, grab a whole bunch of food and stuff, and just give it out to the homeless. I bring my daughters with me; they'll do it as well. So that's how we really got started into just the giving back part of what we do, and then just traveling and giving back at the same time. Visiting Uganda. Yeah. Uganda is a beautiful place. I had the ability to work with a school out there, and we have all these resources that we could provide our kids, right? But if you go to Africa, they don't have efficient water.
Yeah,
right.
I believe you. 100%.
But their kids is so smart. 5 different languages, know how to do formulas and math and all this, and they teaching them a value system. So if we have all these resources and they have a lack of resources, but they're smart, but we are like, what is really going on? So it just opened my eyes to a lot of things, being able to travel the world.
It's a good thing to be out there, man. Like I was telling you about, doing the pest control side of things, like going out and seeing what the real world is like, because we only have our experiences, right? We only have what's been in front of us the whole time, and going out there and seeing what's really like there, someone who maybe is a very quiet kid in school, and you don't understand why, and then you kind of see the living situation, you're like, oh, okay, that makes a little bit more sense, or maybe a parent's not around anymore, or something's happened in their life. It's very big to go out there and be a part of your community.
Correct.
And that's the thing about Jacksonville that I like, is it's kind of like New York. Like my family's all from New Jersey, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania area. Okay. Just think about, you're talking about New York, the boroughs, right? Like Jacksonville's north side, south side, east side, west side. We have so many different pockets of different kinds of people, and every ethnicity you could think of. We have a lot of people on here who come in and either do food trucks or food reviews and everything. And that's the thing I find really interesting about Jacksonville, is that there's literally every kind of person here. You can go get, Asian food somewhere, or you can go get soul food here. There used to be a place not too far away from here. It was, what was the freaking place called? It was a soul food house, and I used to go in there whenever I grew up. Across the street from me was an African-American family, and I became really friendly with their kids, and we hung out every single day.
Okay.
And I feel like that showed me different perspectives of things. I would go in there and try different kinds of food, things that, my family wasn't making at home, and seeing all the different kinds of things. Yep. And I loved it, man. Like, to this day, I love going out and meeting different kinds of people and seeing what's all out there, because it just shows you that, just because I think a certain way doesn't mean it's correct. It shows me like, oh, maybe I can change my opinion on something. And, sitting here and doing the podcast with people, we have every kind of person on here. And I love sitting here and actually having intellectual conversations with people, because it helps me kind of form either my opinion or show me that, oh, damn, man, you're wrong. You need to think on that a little bit longer before you just make a blanket statement. So I think that's cool. And exposing your children to that's very important as well.
1,000%.
Yeah. So when it comes to your future goals, so what is the next step? Obviously, you're talking about the collaboration with the store. You guys are putting out your shoes. It's really gained so much traction. What's really the next step for you guys? Is it just continue your promotion of things, getting more out into the community? What's really the next step for you guys?
Yeah, I would say the next step is to get our program started. In December, we work with Level the Playing Field Leadership Academy just to finish off our sessions with them.
Okay.
And then we crank up our individual sessions, you could say, with OneBridge, right? We'll be able to set up the program at OneBridge Connect in late January. So we looking at doing a cohort with about 10 to 15 kids, and we're going to do our Enhancing Entrepreneurship Through Technology program. So that is, I would say, the next goals in 6 months.
Yeah,
you know
of course.
what I mean? And then, we'll jump into other opportunities as, Shawn, this guy, he likes to expand to different cities. He want to go to New York, LA. So we looking at just different distribution channels, right? So we can distribute the Wolf ones, nationwide. So that's ultimately the goal. And then brand protection.
Yeah.
Right. We want to protect our intellectual property.
That was going to be my next question.
Yeah.
So is it not quite patented yet, or is it in the process?
No. See, we registered our trademark first.
Okay.
So we
Gotcha.
just finished registering our trademark, and then once that is complete, then we'll go into the patent phase.
Congrats, man.
Yeah,
I'd say that's the hardest thing.
Yeah,
I've worked with a couple people on the podcast here, and they told me like the trademarking and just the patenting side of things takes forever.
Right?
If one word is like the same as someone else's, like, nope, you got to X that out, or you got to spell it a different way, or anything like that. So I can definitely understand it. I'd say I'm even looking around for like just me getting a website for the Who Are You.
Yeah,
is a pain in the ass. So I would say I can't patent it because there's so much stuff when it says Who Are You on there.
Correct.
But more of the logo is kind of going to be more of the patented side of things is what I'm looking to do.
Correct.
But no, that's really cool. And I would like to talk a little bit more about like the nonprofit side of things with you guys. So say if someone wants to get involved in these things, how do they reach out? How do they say, hey, my child's interested? How does that work?
Yeah, everything is digitalized. So we have a form on the website. So you go to placeyourprintontheworld.com. That's where all the programs and everything are housed. So you go on there and you just sign your kids up, and we have all that information. We'll reach out to you once, I would say about 2-3 weeks outside of when the program starts.
Gotcha. Yeah. I think it's cool, man. Let's say you guys make me sound so freaking lazy. You hear this, Shannon? Like, you guys, this is everything y'all have been through, man. It's really interesting. Yeah. And when it comes to like, do you plan on having your daughters getting involved or anything like that? Are they interested in being involved? Or are they like, no, Dad, I want to do my own thing?
Yeah, my daughter's a volleyball player, and the other one is she does hair and nails. She's a beautification specialist.
Good for her.
Yeah, so she's doing her thing with that. They love what I do. I mean, they enjoy the different shoes that I create, and they're able to grab them and wear them and customize them. But I would think for me and Shawn to really take it to the next level that we envision is for us to expand outside of the shoes.
Okay.
Right. I mean, the shoes is definitely doing this thing, but for Shawn to have an enterprise and for us to, expand the business enterprise, we want to do other things because it takes 5 to 7 different sources of income to create a sustainable, efficient business, right? We have one solid one. Let's move on to other ones as we grow. So,
and I've seen you have the jackets and everything as well, right? With the hood and everything. I thought those were cool, man. I like the ones where you can zip it. Yes, sir. So what made you choose the wolf of all things?
Honestly, just growing up as a kid, wolves were always my favorite animal. I don't know if it was, I don't know. I didn't grow up with my dad at home.
Okay.
So I just attached to something. And that was one of the things that I attached to. And then once I got older, and I watched Wolf of Wall Street, I'm like,
awesome movie. I love that movie. Yeah, I love that movie.
I'm gonna take that wolf for my company. whenever I start my company, I'm taking that wolf. Like that was my. And then I saw Limitless.
Yep, that's an awesome movie as well. Yep.
I said, oh, see, and he's just sitting here learning. He's just learning the stuff that he has to do. It's not like the thing magically made him smart. He learned how. He still took it and then learned how to do what he was doing. So those two things I just synthesized those and came up with Limitless Wolf.
I like it.
And then not too long after, one of my uncles was like, hey man, you might as well make it into an acronym, working on limitless freedom. I was like, what?
That's
I was like, oh,
cherry on
stamp
top.
that right now.
That's a bar right there.
Yeah, we're gonna take this and run with it. So once I had that part solidified, I just moved forward. I never looked back. When around places when people they don't even know what my last name was. Like when you knew my last name, I was happy. I'm like, all right, he knew.
I got you, man. I tell everybody, like, this isn't just to sit down and like I don't know nothing about you guys. I want to make sure, like, when we have a conversation, it's to promote you guys.
Right.
I don't want to just ask, so what do you guys do? You know what I mean? Whenever I first started doing the podcast, I started that at first, and I was like, I'm asking the same questions over and over again, and I want to make sure it's worth y'all's time. You guys are business owners. You guys are busy. You guys have I'm sure you guys have a million other things you guys can do today. Like I said, I appreciate it anytime someone gives me their time, and I love learning about y'all's business, and you guys are doing good stuff for the community. There's a lot of people out there who don't give a fuck about the community, to be honest with you. And whenever I get to sit down with two individuals such as yourself that work with kids that are putting good things out there and wanting to better the world, how much I give my time to you guys than anybody else out there.
I appreciate that 100%.
Right, that's real.
Hey, man, it's a big thing, dude. I've sat down with people. I remember when I first started the podcast, I was just real hungry to get anybody on the podcast, and then I had a couple interactions with people. I'm like, it's not. They put stuff out there, and I'm like, that's not you. I'm like, I'm sitting here talking to you. I can see it. And I'm like, it's not. It's not you. Everything that we do on here is like they literally grew up with us. Like they watched when me and Shannon were getting married, they watched us do the planning process. So me and her had a show inside the podcast called Sunday Hangouts. We sit down, have a beer, and just have a conversation like, oh, this is what we're doing right now, or this is the struggles that we're going through right now. This is hopefully what I want this to be at the end of the day is an audiobook for my kids. Yeah. So say I'm not here one day, something happens. Yeah. They can see what their dad was like when he was 25, 24, 23, see the struggles of what they went through and then how you push your way past it kind of thing. Correct. And, we're big on mental health here as well. We talk about it very frequently, growing up with like hardcore depression here, went through a lot of things where like if I didn't start talking about stuff, I wouldn't be sitting here with you today. So putting that real stuff out there that a lot of people go through, I feel like, and some people think it's taboo to talk about or they're too tough to talk about or all that kind of stuff. I'm like push that off to the side. Let's have a real conversation here. We've sat down with people. There's a shout out to it was Prestige, the Prestige Barbershop. They're over there off of Southside. We had a very real conversation where it's a husband and wife group. One was a veteran, and they tell me about their son got shot in like random act of violence over a girl. Wow. And she like broke down that situation and going to groups and talking about it, man. So it's just I'm very big on putting positive stuff out there, but also showing the world that you can make it through other things. You're all good, man. No issue. It's all good, man. No issue at all. But that's my favorite thing about doing this, man. This is my way of getting my stuff out there. Not every day is peaches and cream and happiness, but it also like this gets me excited. I was hyped when you guys were coming in today. Yeah, so
definitely.
So I got two final questions for you guys, and it's for both of y'all. So if you guys have one piece of advice for a young person who wants to start a business, what would be the main piece of advice?
Study the business that you want to start.
I like that.
When I started, I wanted to give back. So the entity you have to create in order to give back is like a nonprofit, right? A nonprofit organization. So I had to study the infrastructure, the business model of what a nonprofit is. So just like when Shawn said, I have an LLC, I said, well, you need to study your business, understand the business models you can create from an LLC and what an LLC tax all that stuff you have to understand ins and out of the business that you want to start.
I like it.
Yep. And I would say the same. I would say the first step is education. You got to learn, like you said, what business do you want to start? You might have a creative idea, right? But if you have a creative idea and no plan to get there, then you're not going to go anywhere. And all of the blueprints for the things that we want are already out there. Mm-hmm. We got our phones, right? That's a technology company. If you have a technology idea, look at how did they get from where Apple first started to where Apple is today? We have a shoe company, right? How did Nike get from where Nike started at to where Nike is today? You have these examples out there, but you have to be really definite about what it is that you want to do. Like for me, and I think what me and Greg really relate on is that we want to give back. Mm-hmm. So we have a huge passion for empowering the next generation, and that's where we're synced at. Like we understand that, and Yeah, it's through education is the only way that they'll be able to create sustainable businesses from their ideas.
I agree, man. Knowledge is power. A lot of people, may not like school. You don't even have to go to school, but sitting down and just having a conversation with someone can completely change your life on just like, oh, that was the piece I was missing right there. And it's awesome that you guys are giving kids that power. Absolutely. Because there's a lot of people who are stuck in a rut and don't know how they're going to make it out. And it takes, two gentlemen like you coming in there and showing them what's possible. That's
blow their mind.
Hey, dude, like I said, and I found you guys very interesting. Everything I read about y'all, like the news outlets, everything, you guys are doing amazing things. So, shout out to you guys. Keep doing your thing. And then anytime you guys got events going on, man, let me know. I was letting him know. Me and her going to start coming back out and going out to community events and doing little interviews on the side.
Man, come outside.
I'm more than happy to, man. You'll see my tall self walking around.
Right.
So my final question for each of you as well. And anytime it's someone's first time on the podcast, I always ask this question: is do you feel successful? And if you do or do not, in what ways?
That's an amazing question
to
end off with, and I would say yes. I would say yes, we do. I do feel successful, although there's an inner critic in me that will tell me not to celebrate my wins and to look at the mountain ahead of me that I have to continue to climb up. But being a realist, I'd say, how did I even get this far up the mountain in the first place? That's success. The journey, success, I don't think success is like a destination. It's more of a journey. You as long as you're moving, that's being successful. The moment you stop, something comes and start knocking you back down that mountain, then you got to make some adjustments. But yeah, I would say yes.
I like it.
Yeah. Shout out to Shawn on that because, success is subjective, right? Mm-hmm. So, everyone defines their own success. And I think I'm successful based upon everything that I put my mind to, it get done. Mm-hmm. I feel like nothing can stop me if I'm like focused, tapped in, if I'm like in my zone, in my bag. Like, I don't think nothing can stop me. Any idea that I manifest, I can do it. That's what defines my success, is that I'm able to write something down or have an idea, and then next it's in real life now. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? That, those little successes create bigger successes, right? So, just compiling successes on top of successes, and then boom, you ultimately, you know what I'm saying, just successful, it just happens. It's like an organic, natural feeling.
I totally agree.
Instead of I have to reach a certain point, or I'm looking at people on social media saying, oh, I need to be like them. No, you need to define your own success, understand who you are, and then move forward from there.
I think those are both beautiful answers, man. And to touch on what you were saying there, people think that you're going to get to somewhere and you'll feel successful. And that's something I've learned, in my short 25 years. It's not that. And as you said, enjoy the moments. There's going to be times where you mess up. But that's a learning experience for you to sit down. Someone, I forgot who said the saying, but they said life is like painting the same spot with a paintbrush. It's layers, layers, and then it turns into a mountain, and then it gets bigger, and then it gets bigger. Absolutely. So I think that's a beautiful thing, and both y'all's sentiment, I think, is great as well. The reason why I asked that question at the end is it makes people think. Because there's a lot of people who sit there and they'll be like, money is what's important to them. For mine, my success is through my relationships with people. I growing up didn't have a great relationship with my family, and now we're best friends. With my wife, we're happy. We're making our world, and we're trying to put our stamp on the world out here, just like you guys are doing. So that's the reason why I asked that question, because it always makes people stop and they're like, damn, do I feel successful? I don't know if I do. So that's why it's my favorite question. But you guys were awesome tonight. Thank you guys again so much for your time. But before I let y'all go, please let everybody know anything you guys want to promote, websites, any kind of social media, all that good stuff, or how they can get a hold of you.
Yeah, y'all know what time it is, man. Place your print on the world at SKYLYFE Inc. Y'all know what it is, man.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, man. You guys can follow me at Shawn1Wolf on Instagram, limitlesswolf.com. If you guys want to check out the wolf ones, you can customize your own wolf ones. Please subscribe to the website. When you subscribe, you get 15% off of your first order. We also have an ambassador program. We're looking for new ambassadors to come on and embrace the limitless movement. If you feel like you have what it takes to be a part of the Wolf Pack, please reach out to us. You can reach out to myself. Again, that's at Shawn1Wolf on Instagram, or at Place Your Print on the World. And yeah.
Hell yeah, y'all. Well, like I said, you guys are doing awesome stuff. Love the shoes. Love what you guys are doing with the community. Keep doing your thing, man. I'm excited to see y'all's continued growth. And this won't be the only invite on. Anytime you guys got something new, say you guys got an event or anything you guys want to promote, hit me up. I'm more than happy to have you guys back on. We'll sit down and do another hour.
Part 2.
Yes, sir. Definitely do a part 2. But make sure you guys go give them a follow. Check out the social media. Check out the website. Make sure you guys hit them up. And if you guys do, let them know the Who Are You sent you. I love when anybody listens to the podcast and they go check out our guest. So make sure you guys go give them a follow. Check them out. But before we get out of here, make sure you guys give us a follow on the social media. It's going to be at Who Are You Pod from everything from Instagram, TikTok, Twitter. You guys know where to find us at nowadays. And make sure you guys give us a like, subscribe, comment on the YouTube page. You know, it's still a new page. We're still trying to grow it and everything. So any comments, likes, anything like that will definitely help us out. It's going to be Who Are You podcast, and you guys will be able to find us on there. And my final thing is, if you feel like you'd be a good fit for the show, you got a story that needs to be told, you're a business owner, an entrepreneur, artist, athlete, and you feel like you'd be a good fit for the show, check us out. Make sure you guys hit me up either on the social media or you can email me. It's going to be whoareyoupod@yahoo.com, and maybe we'll have you guys on a future episode. But as I say every week, y'all, thank you so much for checking us out, and we'll see you guys next week.